I think.
I, I, I want to get to more songs, but when I
Sure.
talked to you at the festival last weekend, you said something interesting, is that your father was a sawmiller in the Everglades. And there are properties throughout South Florida that you recognize the wood from his sawmill from the qualities of the wood.
Yeah, we're pretty sure that the Field restaurant, the Irish restaurant there in, I guess it's Davie,
Yeah,
Davie,
Griffin, I believe.
Hollywood,
Yeah.
that area. We're pretty sure that the Pecky Cypress in that restaurant was my dad's.
What
Pretty
do you
sure.
call it?
Pecky Cypress.
Okay.
It's a certain kind of cypress. It has the holes in
Okay.
it, and it's actually made from a worm from, I think. My mom is listening, and I hope I'm saying all this right. My mom knows everything there is to know about cypress, Pecky, lumber, and everything.
I assume that wood's not available anymore.
No, my father died a long time ago. So, his sawmill business, obviously it was gone before actually he died. But there's not a lot of Pecky cypress is hard to get.
And he used to go and harvest that wood himself and cut it himself, and that's pretty amazing. One day we'll find out more about that.
Yeah.
Sarah McCulloch here. I want to get some more songs in. What do you want to do?
I wanted to do a Florida song. I'm a Florida girl, and last week, I don't know if you heard, someone was on stage at the folk festival there and said they were from out of state, and they said, boy, well, I've been all over the country. No place is like Florida. No place has all these Florida, songs. And I think that's true because I lived in New York for a while, and there's not a lot of songs about New York. So I'm gonna sing a song about Florida. The song is called Everglade City, 1985. This is a song that could be a whole show and a day and a half of discussion, so I'll try to make it quick. 1983 and 1984, there was a series of drug busts in Everglade City, and about 80% of the male population was put in jail. So by 1985, there wasn't a lot of men in Everglade City. So this song is told from the perspective of a fisherman's wife. And it has to do with the drug smuggling business. They basically got into the drug smuggling business, and the way the story goes among the townspeople, they felt very squeezed by the government when they put the Park Service in because they restricted their fishing. And so it made them harder and harder for them to make a living. So they got into the business, and then they all got busted. But out on the water in those 10,000 islands area, it was very hard to get caught. So they, you'll hear in this song about, it's full speed ahead in the dark without any lights, and that's referring to them running,
And boats.
in airboats, boats. So it's called Everglade City, 1985. Okay, I do know. Everglade City, 1985. I'm doing better than most. All the men are up coast doing time. The DEA came and hauled them away. I ain't seen a thing's what he told me to say. My old man told me to say. Well, they put in the park and told us we would be fine, that we could still hunt and fish, but the government lied. Now you can't expect a good man just to stew when he needs a job and there's one to do. There's a good one to do. But it sure gets lonely at night round here for a fisherman's wife in Everglade City, 1985. Fishers by day, smugglers by night, the law could not catch what they could not find, and it's a full speed ahead in the dark City, 1985. I went to see him in the pen last July. He said, kiss my babies, and baby, don't cry. I'll get out of here and we'll get out of there. I'll find me a job that won't disappear. Then I won't have to disappear. If fishers by day, smugglers by night, the law could not catch what the law could not find, and it's full speed ahead in the dark without any lights. Brothers and uncles and husbands and sons, they haul 'em away for what you might have done if a boat and a line and a fish were your way of life. In Everglade City, 1985. And it sure gets lonely at night, waiting on his time to go by. In Everglade City, 1985.
Sarah McCulloch, live in the WLRN studio. That's a new song on your album?
Yeah, that's the only Florida song on there. So it's an eclectic group of songs, 12 songs, and it's the only Florida song on there.
Well, how personal was that song? Do you know people from Everglade City?
I do, but it's personal for me because I grew up actually in Collier County, and Everglade City is in the south western part of Collier County. I grew up in the very northeastern, so we're separated by thousands and thousands of acres of Everglades. However, my family also felt the squeeze from the Park Service when they came in, because they came in and bought property, Big Cypress acquisition properties, and it was hard for us as the little community out there. They didn't want us there. They didn't want us there.
You remember this? I mean, you were a little girl back then.
Yeah, I was. I think I was 8 or 9 when I don't know the exact dates, but it was very stressful for my family. My father thought that they were just going to come in and take everything. We didn't know if it would be, eminent domain or whatever. We were property owners, but yet it was the government that was coming in, so it was a big deal. So it was very hard, very heavy on my dad. They didn't, push us out completely, but they fined us a bunch, like for building codes, and made it very hard to stay.
Has residents of Everglade City now, have they heard the song?
I don't know how much it's gotten out yet, so it'll be interesting to see. I've played it for the first person I sent that song to was Valerie Wisecracker, and I don't know if she's listening right now. If she is, shout out to Valerie.
She introduced me to you,
Yeah,
actually.
she introduced us to each other, right. We owe her that. It was very good for me. I sent it to her because she, she's about as she's about as South Florida and Everglade City and Miami as they come.
And that's how I know about Everglade City, through Valerie, because she writes songs about that too.
Right, and so I knew she would know. I wanted her to. She spent time there. She knows the people more than I do, and she loved it. And she thought that it really was accurate with the vibe and how they felt about. They felt pressured into the business. I mean, it was a lucrative business when the song says he needs a job and there's one to do. There's a good one to do. It was lots and lots of money. So it's, I don't want to say that they were, it's kind of, I don't want to make it too controversial because it was what they were doing was illegal at the time.
Well, it was very controversial, sure.
But now that it's legal and I they made such a spectacle
You're
of
talking about
those.
marijuana.
Yeah,
you're talking about.
and it seems like kind of silly now because it's legal, but I understand back then it was different. But they made such a spectacle. It was on the nightly news. All these guys were rounded up like they were violent
Like
criminals.
they were, yeah. No,
and they were
yeah.
just, they were just like you and me. They were people just like you and me. And what would you do if you were in that situation, if you were born and raised there? If you've ever been to Everglade City, it's surrounded by water. There's not, you can't farm there. You can't, start farming or something. They were fishermen. And so it cut into their business. And so that's their story. I don't know. There's a really good documentary called The Square Grouper. It's on Amazon Prime. There's 3 parts to that documentary. The first part, it's about drug smuggling, all of it. The first 2 parts are about, I think, the Miami area. The third part is about Everglade City, and I would encourage people to watch it. It was really good. And Valerie, one more thing, she was the one that helped that documentary, that filmmaker, interview those guys.
No kidding.
Yeah. So she's been very, very, that's her song to me.
Sarah McCulloch is in the studio. Her first album, is that your first album, Saw Miller's Daughter?
Actually, it was my second. I put out an album called Strawberry Moon in 2018.
Well, I really enjoyed Saw Miller's Daughter.